ultras with 5 queens transfusing against 1/1 Protoss units. They tend to survive quite a bit. That was really nice. Although, I don't know, kind of disappointed in Naniwa there. It looked like he had done his homework. He knew that Scarlett liked that Ling upgrade style. And going 2-base Colossus is, I would say, the hard counter to it. But if he's seen her play those games, he knows that every single game she goes for a Ling counterattack the moment a Protoss moves out, and he just was not ready for it and didn't deal with it well. I don't know. I think it's worth it against her if you're going to do that style. You get the Forge, you get the Cannon, you just... counterattacks are too important to disregard. Plus the upgrades anyway. I don't know. It felt like he had a good idea. He just didn't bring it all together.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was really nicely executed there by Scarlett. And on Naniwa's map choice, I wonder if we're going to be seeing these weird alternate trades as we go forward here.
Yeah, that's true.
We might. All right, well, this will be the time for Naniwa to try and get that advantage back. Because if he gets that momentum, and then he has Yonsu, which is a map that we know that Scarlett is very uncomfortable on, then he may be able to get that critical kind of 3-1 lead, which really lets you snowball towards the finish there. But the next map is Frost, which I think, yeah, that's not a map that Scarlett hates, actually. If it was Polar Night, this might be a different matter, but well, Frost is looking pretty good for both players, I think, actually.
Frost is a good map for that mass muta style because it's just so big and open and multi-path that anything that makes the game big and spread out and whatnot is good for mutas because they're so fast, so good at harassment and counterattacks and base trades and whatnot. So I would say she's definitely looking, well, almost definitely. She does really like that Ling Infestor style, but I would say she's probably wants to play towards a mid-game mass muta kind of composition. And I don't know. I'm not really sure if Naniwa has studied her, and that last build was like very well prepared and very intelligent. And if that's the case, then he's going to know that she's going to go mutas on here. That's what she's looking for. And he's going to be going Phoenix and trying to deal with it as he did that first game. Or if he just happened to be going 2-base Colossus last game and got kind of lucky and it didn't work out. And if that's the case, then maybe he doesn't know what she's going to do here.
Possibly. We're going to take a quick break, folks, and when we come back, we will be bringing you Game 3 of Scarlett versus Naniwa right here, and it's going to be on Frost. Don't go anywhere. right, ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing you Game 3 right here of Scarlett versus Naniwa, which has also already proved actually to be a fantastic matchup between these two players.
Yeah, a bunch of weird strategies, even in the first two games. Ling and Fester, for anyone who watches Scarlett a lot, is pretty normal, but in CVP right now, not normal at all.
No.
And then the one Stalker DT rush from Naniwa into 2 Stargate Void Ray in the previous game. That kind of stuff is so scary to play against a Zerg because it's the Protoss who knows how to get an advantage rolling. Like, if you do any damage at all with the DTs, then just afterwards you're up against another annoying tech choice and another annoying tech choice after that. So frustrating.
Absolutely. The sponsors that made this happen, folks, are at the bottom of this list. I'd like to give a particular shout out to Coinapult, one of our sponsors today. You can use that service to send Bitcoin to any email address or mobile number in the US and Canada. Check them out at coinapult.com, and their Twitter to follow is Coinapult and Eric Voorhees. That is Eric with a K, Voorhees. All right, we're going to be going into the next match right here. It is, of course, a best-of-7 series, and we currently have both players one apiece. So here we go. Welcome to Frost, ladies and gentlemen, featuring Asa Toss Imba, also known as Scarlett, in the blue trunks, playing Zerg to the northeast of Frost, versus her opponent to the southwest position, in fact. Compass is good. In the red trunks, playing Protoss, it's Alliance Naniwa.
The sponsors are really useful, because I just started getting interested in Bitcoin stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. And then I hear you plug them, and I'm like, oh, that's how. And I can go check that out afterwards.
Yeah, Naniwa's a notorious Luddite when it comes to technology. We're considering just using Coinapult to actually send him his prize money, but we eventually got him to set up a wallet, so it's all good.
Well, you say that now. It hasn't been transferred yet. He'll find some way to mess it up.
You know, it actually surprises me how many StarCraft pros are actually sort of technologically impaired, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I have absolutely no idea how to do anything. I'm actually casting this from my sister's laptop because I'm at home for Christmas. And it took me, like, years to get everything set up.
Well, it seemed to work pretty well. So you're there with your... I believe you took your recording equipment with you, actually, didn't you?
Yeah, I have my microphone. I wasn't going to trust their stuff with that. But...
Yeah, that would have been good. We have the biggest show match in history, and it's done, like, on the internal mic of a... of some, like, Lenovo laptop or something like that. That wouldn't be so good. But, no, you brought the... I believe you used the Blue Yeti, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good mic. Good, solid mic. I'd actually recommend it to anyone that wants to do podcasting or maybe commentary or YouTube videos kind of as a starter. It's a nice kind of thing you just plug in and it works.
Yeah, anything's better than a headset mic, at least.
Yup.
For all of the ones that I've had to plug over the years as sponsors, I don't know. It just doesn't seem to be possible to have a headset mic that actually does broadcast quality audio.
There isn't one. I've looked. There really isn't. If you want to do a headset, you've got to do what MLG or NASL or anyone doing. They actually use Sennheiser HMD 26s, but you can't just plug that into your laptop and go. You've got to plug that into a bunch of other stuff to make it sound good.
Yeah, and no gamer is actually going to take the time to do that, even they're being paid to cast the show match. We're just too lazy.
Indeed. What do you think to this hatchery placement? I mean, we saw a big 3-hatch play here. It wasn't not 3-hatch before pool, but this is a very aggressive forward hatchery here from Scarlett. Do you think this is the right place on Frost to put it?
It's something a lot of Zergs do. I haven't played the map too much. I'm not sure if it's even on the ladder. I haven't played it too much myself, but it seems like the more 12 o'clock-ish, 1 o'clock-ish base would be the more intuitive one, that this center base is really exposed. So I'm not really sure what her thought process is there. But it is a big map. Naniwa, he's capable of cannon rushing. Like we said, he's capable of doing anything, but he's not the biggest fan of it. Gateway expansion, I think, is a pretty good read to put him on this game. So doing that is okay, but we're actually going to see. We've been talking a bit, but he's actually going 1 gate expansion off of 1 gas into 4 gateway, so the very, very early Zealot pressure. That's kind of popular right now. And this is going to be really hard to hold off. She doesn't even have a gas yet. Speedling is not going to be finished anytime soon. That third base, as you said, it's out in the middle. It's very exposed. It's a bit of a gamble. If it pays off, then you have this central location in control, and you have a good staging point for attacks and to further expand and whatnot. But against an opponent who's going 4 gateway Zealot, but a Zergling actually gets in and is going to scout that. It's going to know exactly what's going on. Oh, but it didn't see the second gas, and it saw a sentry, which is not normally part of 4 gateway Zealot. So that's going to mess with her head. She's going to think she's pretty safe at this point, I think. And she really is not at all. There's already a pylon coming down right in front of her natural.
Yeah, there's a gateway hidden around the back of it there as well that was not scouted. So she did see 3 gateways, but did not see 4. And like you said, no gas. So here comes the warping, and things are about to get very ugly very quickly here for our Zerg player.
She has a spine crawler coming down, but Zealous can kill that before it's any kind of a factor. More pylons coming down, and he can just continue to warp in. And she's not putting up spine crawlers that are natural. The third base is going to fall, no matter what. I don't see her defending that. And she's not preparing a fallback at her natural. So I'm not sure what she does here.
I'm quite surprised she hasn't cancelled the building of the Queen here, actually. She pops one out there. It looks like she thinks she can hold this. I don't think that's necessarily possible. A spine crawler's coming up there. 7 Zealots and a Mothership Core? No way, surely.
I don't know if she still thinks it's going to be 3 gate or something, but against 4 gateway Zealots, there's absolutely no way. It must have just been a misread on her part. She saw the sentry, she saw the 3 gateway, she assumed it was 3 gateway Zealot, and underreacted. She has spine crawlers coming up at her natural now, but the damage has already been done. She made so many circlings, she lost so many queens, she's going to lose that 3rd hatchery. She's even lost a few drones on top of it. And back at home, Naniwa just comfortably going up to Stargate and continuing his probe production. So
here comes more aggression. The spine crawlers are not done yet. These Zealots want to make their way into the natural mineral line, and they've done just that. This base is about to fall here, and Naniwa is going to just leave a single Zealot to finish that one off. Ling's trying to get the best engagement, but Naniwa has good position on these. Spine crawlers now come up, but there's only 1 remaining here. It's already taken some damage. A few roaches pop out, so looks like she might be able to hold this, but the Zealot pressure keeps coming. He's just piling this on.
Yeah, with the roaches, she might be able to keep herself alive, but she's already lost all of her queens except 1. She's losing more and more drones to this Mothership Core that's sitting there. And the Zealots are actually killing off the roaches. There's just so many of them that even with good control, she can't really do much. Now focus firing down the drones, leaving her with no economy. It's now 26 drones to 40 probes, with the tech and the gas coming up back at home for Naniwa. Just absolutely dominant position for him. Even if she survives, the game's pretty much over.
This is not what you want going into Yonsu, which of course is going to be the next map, having lost kind of in such a brutal fashion here. This is very worrying. It looks like she took a gamble on that 3rd base, scouted but didn't see everything, and now she's just dying to Zealots, just straight up Zealots. There's even an Oracle on the way there, and then there's going to be that Void Ray follow-up, which has got to be game over at that point.
Yeah, the Oracle at this point is just insult to injury. That's going to kill off the remaining drones. And then from there, Void Rays will defend any kind of roach all in. That's the only thing she really has going for her at this point. No Lair, no Queens, no tech. I imagine she just leaves at this point unless she's pissed off and kind of tilty. Because she knows the game's over right now.
Yeah, it's 19 drones, now 18. The main mineral line just got pulled here as well. Roaches are on the way. They're going to take approximately 5 years to get across, which is going to take... I mean, that's more than enough time for Naniwa to warp in enough to actually defend this. He has the superior economy. A Spore Crawler is going up. That Oracle got 13 kills. There's only 12 drones remaining. Spore Crawler finally drives it away. Roaches are on the way, but there's only 9 of them. There's a Void Ray out. There's going to be a second one out by the time they hit. There's nothing that Scarlett can do at this point. She's going to throw it at the enemy. She's going to find out, oh, well, there's Void Rays, that's it. And then she's going to have to tap out of the game. There's no real option at this point, unless Naniwa decides to go to sleep for the next few minutes. Yeah,
I would imagine so. I think even at that point, as long as he queues up 5 Void Rays before he nods off, I think he'd be pretty okay. I don't know. She's producing drones. I think she's just kind of unhappy with the way that early game went. And that's understandably so. That's so frustrating, because it's the kind of situation where if the pylon gets up, the damage is going to be done, and with the misread on top of it, it feels like such an unjust loss from the Zerg's perspective. It's like you didn't really mess up that much. You had very little room to make any mistakes, and you still just flat out got destroyed. It feels so terrible. So she's not happy right now. She's just going to sit here and kind of drag it out and try and calm herself and deal with it and move on to the next game in a better mental state.
Yeah, that seems to be it, certainly. There's not really much that she can do here with these roaches. 3 Void Rays is enough to decimate that army very quickly. With only 1 Queen out, there's no way she can really defend it. So that pretty much will be that, which is a little anticlimactic, I've got to say. We're seeing Naniwa throwing down a Twilight Council here, just in case, because, you know, why not? Perfectly placed Photon Cannon will deny these Lings as they come in. Able to get a single probe, but come on, it's 21 workers killed to 2.
You just gotta claw your way back in there. The tenacity. Although I don't know how much that's going to help against 3 Void Rays with no anti-air.
Yeah, I think you need a little bit more than tenacity. Unless tenacity can shoot up, that's not going to help.
Nope. And Roaches against Void Rays, not the best, not ideal for Zerg either. And Hatchery will fall immediately. Yep. I don't know. I guess she'll just make a last stand and then leave. Hopefully.
I guess so. I can't see any other way around it. You know, Void Ray charge is being used. The roaches are coming into play here. Spine's coming up, but there's nothing that shoots up, really. So this is not going to work at all for Ace of Scarlett, I'm afraid, and she's going to have to be going on to the next map, which will, of course, be Yonsu, a map that she absolutely hates. Starts her lair tech, which I feel is a little optimistic.
She has a second queen coming out, so that will be some additional anti-air. I'm not sure if that's going to be quite enough here.
I don't think so, somehow.
Those force fields actually kind of counterproductive there, trapping the Zealots away from the roaches. Not that it matters.
Not really. She still doesn't have an answer to the Mothership Core and the Void Rays, unless, of course, the Mothership Core dies, which it does, but even then, there's still 3 charged Void Rays, and, again, not much that shoots up. So this Natural's dead. There's the GG, perhaps a little delayed, and Naniwa takes his second map in this series.
And Yunsu next, and we've been talking about Yunsu, but I believe Polar Knight's the 5th map, and Polar Knight is a slightly better version of Yunsu for Zerg. It's still very, very difficult in the early game. And she likes her Ling style there, but the Ling style has some weaknesses, and it's just generically not a very good map for Zerg. So going into these last 2 maps, down 1-2, not at all where Scarlett wanted to be. She needed a win on Star Station and or Frost very badly.
Do you feel that there's a possibility of an all-in coming here from Scarlett on this map?
Maybe? I don't know. She's a competitor. She's done well at lots of tournaments over and over. It's hard to think that just because she doesn't like a map, she's going to look at a 1-2 situation and do some silly all-in on it. And Zerg doesn't have any high percentage all-ins against Protoss. It's just, that's not how the race works. There's not a whole lot you can do early on against building walls, force fields, and cannons. So I'd be pretty surprised. Maybe a 10 pool, maybe something like that. She has shown that she's willing to 10 pool in the past, and that's kind of okay against a decent number of builds. But Zerg just doesn't have the best options if they want to get aggressive early on. It's just not built for that. So I'd be pretty surprised if she did anything too off the wall. I would expect to see the double upgrade Ling style again. I think that's her best bet on this map.
Yeah, I mean, it could be her just getting perhaps in a little bit of a poor mental state about Yunsu, or maybe she was just complaining beforehand because she thought that it might unsettle her opponent. I have no idea, but I don't... Scarlett's not the giving up type, and I don't see her throw games on any map, even if she doesn't like it in particular. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to hear a short word from our sponsors, and when we come back, Game 4 of Naniwa versus Scarlett.
The world is in financial disarray. Currencies failing, economies in wild flux, jobs being lost. But what if you could build an entirely new economy, one specifically designed for the digital realm? Well, that is the dream behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a decentralised electronic cash system that uses peer-to-peer networking along with digital signatures and cryptographics to generate currency. Now, with traditional money, think dollars, the euro, pesos, you've got a central bank, like the Federal Reserve. They issue the currency and they print more or less cash as needed, but not with Bitcoin. Bitcoins are generated using a process called mining. Your computer is given a complex mathematical problem to solve, and the goal is a 64-digit number. If your grey box can successfully solve that algorithm, then congratulations, you are the proud owner of a new block of 50 Bitcoins. The network automatically adjusts the difficulty of mining so that 50 Bitcoins are created roughly every 10 minutes. The reason they call it mining is because there's a set number of Bitcoins that can ever be mined in the system. There's only 21 million Bitcoins that will ever be created in total. You can't just print off cash like they do in the real world. You're digging it out of the system like precious metals from some mathematical mine. Right now, a Bitcoin is roughly worth $70 US. Last year, miners generated the equivalent of $16.7 million worth of Bitcoins, and we're only halfway down the mine shaft with over 10 million Bitcoins unearthed already. Like any economy, you don't want too much too fast because then the value of your currency drops, or so slow that your economy grounds to a halt. It's designed to be a self-stabilising economy. Whether it actually is that way though, well, that is a little bit more complicated. Welcome to the exchanges. These exchanges allow people to buy and sell Bitcoins with each other. The largest Bitcoin exchange is Mt. Gox. And it's here that you can purchase Bitcoins using local currencies. You can even store Bitcoins too. Mind you, that can be a bit risky. Hackers have, on occasion, dangerously destabilised these exchanges. Bitcoin is also the currency that fuels what's known as the dark web. Using software called Tor, you can hide your identity online and access the digital marketplace they call the Silk Road, where sellers flog illegal drugs like LSD, heroin, and marijuana. Buyers conduct all transactions using Bitcoin. The influence of Bitcoin is growing. WikiLeaks and WordPress will accept Bitcoin as cash. Even the ideas behind Bitcoin are already changing the way people think about cash. The Royal Canadian Mint have just launched MintChip, an electronic currency backed by the Canadian government that borrows a lot from the philosophy of Bitcoin. And ultimately, that is what's most powerful about Bitcoin. Not the coins itself, but the way it can change the way we look at, think about, and most importantly, spend our money.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of an outdated indicator of Bitcoin. It says Bitcoin's worth about $70. No, it's about 10 times that right now, so there you go. But people are asking, hey, you know, what's Bitcoin all about? There's a good explanation of it, I feel, if a little bit outdated. We are on our next map right here, Yonsu, and we saw no early cheese, so we thought, you know what, let's let that finish, and let's show you a little bit about what Bitcoin is actually all about, since it's the thing that's fueling this tournament. So, here we are on Yonsu, and we've got a gateway opening here from Naniwa versus a pool first from Scarlett.
Pool first, actually wasn't watching because I was waiting for the thing to start, but it's actually a very early speedling build from her. I'm not sure when exactly. It looks like it was probably 13 gas 12 pool. Not positive. And a gateway expansion from Nani, and this could be pretty bad for him. He's already dropping a pylon down the ramp. If he's going to be greedy, if he's going to not start a Zealot and just go straight for a Nexus, then the Lynx could just kind of kill him. And with a speedling open in particular, if the Lynx get into your base and things start to go bad, then just you can never catch up to it. You can never catch the speedlings. They just run you around until they whittle you down and the Zerg wins the game. But he is starting up the Zealot. And some Protosses will... Actually, it's pretty common for Protoss to cancel the Zealot in order to get your Nexus quicker, but he doesn't have a probe out. It doesn't look like he's going to try and do that. He's also getting a second gas, so it looks like he's actually playing a bit more conservatively, a bit more one-basey. So that could work out well for him here.
Yeah, he's got a second Zealot on the way here as well. Naniwa clearly smelling something here.
Yeah, it's a good read by him. It's definitely going to pay off quite a bit. Although, she does have Lynx running around the map. If he loses one Zealot, that's the thing about these quick speedling builds. It's such an investment. If she doesn't do damage with this, the game's over. It's not completely an all-in, but a cheese for sure. So if he loses just that one Zealot, the speedlings are just going to take control of the base. And the Zealot's actually walking out on the map, and the Overlord saw that. Scarlett knows that that Zealot's out there, and that his base is undefended. And this is really, really bad for Naniwa.
Yeah. No Mothership Core has been started either, so
No.
even Photon Overcharge is not an option here. And Naniwa's sitting on a lot of gas, so he can maybe bring a sentry or two in, but Warp Gate Tech isn't done. He's only got a single gateway. He'd have to build that straight up. Stargate at the front, and Lings are now going to make their way in, and as you say, 2-1 mark. There it is, and the Speedlings kick in just as they go up the ramp, and Nani just got a nasty shock.
He's chrono boosting out the Mothership Core, but not going to have planetary overcharge right away. And the Zealot falls. Another Zealot's across the map. It's not going to be able to do anything. Mothership Core comes out, but now we have a bunch of speedlings against a handful of probes.
Good lord.
And the probes are just dying.
Devastating. You know, we said perhaps there was a possibility of an all-in. Well, it looks like she had something in mind, and those probes are trapped. The damage is extreme already going on right here. Really nice probe stacking from Naniwa to avoid most of the damage, but the Lings keep on coming. The Zealots are not helping out here. The pylons are going down. Everything's about to be depowered. There's no units coming out. He's relying entirely on that Mothership Core right now.
But back at home, the Zealot is actually killing off the Queen, and there was no Zerglings in production, so... Oh, but a good draws around from Scarlett.
Yep, nicely
and
done.
A little bit of missed attention from Naniwa, so that was the one real hope he had. I don't know, if we look at the income tab, it's 13 to 13. It's a very big investment from Zerg to actually do this kind of speedling build. It costs you a lot. So she doesn't have the best fallback on the world, but speedlings just give you so much map control. She killed a lot of probes already.
Yep,
Two Zealots out. Naniwa's pretty much stabilized at this point, but where does he go from here? It's pretty tough.
Well, he lost his Stargate. He still has his Cybercore. He's been able to keep Warp Gate Tech going, so that's good. But a nice little snipe there by Scarlett to take a few more probes. I love the probe stacking that we saw actually from Naniwa. It made it very difficult for those Lings to really do as much damage as they should have.
That was the only thing that kept him in this game. If he hadn't done that, he would have lost pretty much all those probes. Not really much of an opportunity to do anything else. As is, it's still pretty much equal worker count. The hatchery is just about halfway done from Scarlett. She has Speedling, but only the one Queen. Not a whole lot of other options to fall back on. So, and we do see 2 more gateways coming down from Naniwa. He has warp gate tech completed. Maybe he turns this into some kind of panic 3-gate all-in. I kind of doubt it though. I don't really think he's going to be safe to walk out across the map because he doesn't have any kind of wall in. He doesn't have anything to deal with any kind of Zergling counterattacks. So that would be a big problem if he decided to go for something like that. I think he just tries to put down a Nexus and expand and go into a macro game from here because he is still relatively close in Harvester count.
Yeah, he pulled some real Helm's Deep stuff with that hold, I've got to say. That was really, really good. A lesser Protoss would have lost absolutely everything there, but even then, it still puts him in an awkward spot. The question is, will Scarlett be able to extend her lead further, or will she start to throw it away by bleeding off a couple of lings here and there, or giving an opening to Naniwa to actually attack? Right now, she's not doing that, and she's maintaining map control.
Yeah, that third hatchery coming down. The Nexus hasn't even started yet for Naniwa. Scarlett is going to see that. That might scare her a little bit. You see no Nexus yet. You think maybe he's going to do some kind of all-in. And I think at this point, he actually might be. He's warping in a lot of extra sentries. He could go for a Zealot sentry all-in because he's not saving up money for a Nexus. And it's getting to the point where it's kind of late. And if you're going to make the Nexus, you kind of need to do it. Or you're going to fall way too far behind.
Yeah, he's thinking about it. He's sitting on there, but his economy wasn't that great to begin with. So he's not mining all that quickly. He's actually still building probes. He's still building things, which indicates...
That probe was a fake. He was hiding those sentries. He's warped in more sentries. He's going to go for an all-in here.
Okay, well, Scarlett just got a little bit of a sniff of it. Saw a good number of sentries at the front there.
Do have a Roach Warren coming down and Spine Crawlers, so she knows at this point. And the problem is, there's still no wall in there. He left a sentry behind to force field the ramp, but that's not an indefinite answer. And there's also 3 pylons out there sitting there waiting to be killed. And he's nearly pylon blocked, so he can't really afford to lose those. He wouldn't be able to keep warping in units.
Yeah, I mean, Scarlett's bringing in 5 spines, which is enough to kill this army outright several times over, assuming they actually finish. The force field goes down. Naniwa does not make a mistake here. The spines are not entirely finished, but it's 2 zealots and a bunch of sentries, and that really is about it. Is now going to, I assume he's going to force field himself into the main base and try and take it out that way. That's exactly what he does.
The thing is, he just doesn't have very much DPS. He's not going to kill stuff very quickly, but he can force field that ramp almost infinitely. But with 4 roaches coming from the main, very smart from Scarlett to save the larva there, so she could actually get the roaches out. That's going to be able to clean it up. There's no pylon to warp in. There's no way for Naniwa to get any kind of reinforcements in here. And those roaches are just going to pick this off unless there's some kind of miraculous force fields.
Well, let's see how good the tickles are. I mean, they're pretty good, but the problem is the roaches at the back aren't taking any damage here. Now they're finally doing it, so those roaches may die, but there's more on the way, and the Ling run by actually got in. The force field was imperfect. It gets the surround on the Zealot here.
Yeah, and Naniwa has lost control of the ramp, so more and more units coming in. Actually, sending her drones back a bit earlier. Scarlett's losing quite a few of those to the sentries, but those lings are going to be a problem. They see the Stargate. They're going to be able to kill some probes, maybe run back out and cancel the Nexus. She'd love to be able to do that, but I think that might be out of the question at this point. And actually, the main of Scarlett still is not cleared up for some reason. I don't know what she's doing.
She needs more roaches, and she doesn't really have them right now. She's only got a single roach. She's building some more. This should be enough to do it. There we go. So she won't lose that hatchery, certainly. The force fields have been good, but Naniwa loses his last Zealot, so they're going to go down pretty quickly now.
We were focusing on the Zergling counterattack, but while this happened, Scarlett actually sent a bunch of drones back to her main and lost them all to the 4 sentries. And if we look at the Harvester count, Naniwa is actually ahead by 10 at this point, which is
surprising.
Which is massive, because she's still on Lairtech. I think she only has 1 queen. She has no spore crawlers, and then Oracle is already out on the map. Naniwa's established 2 Nexus. He's actually in the lead right now, as bizarre as that is.
That's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd, but he pulled it off. I mean, that's incredible. So, well, the Oracle's on its way, and suddenly it's going to say, oh, all right, you don't have any spore crawlers. Well, I'm going to have a few of your drones. Thank you very much.
He has to worry about a counterattack, though, because a lot of Lings and some Roaches are coming across the map, and he right now has 3 Zealots and a Sentry, and that's not going to deal with that. He does have a Void Ray on the way out that will kill them, but Scarlett could get in there and do some damage in the meantime, because she's not going to have anything to hold it back. It's just going to be the Void Ray sitting there hitting them.
Yep. Oracle takes a good few more drone kills. The Roach is on the way, but as you said, there is a Void Ray, and the Lings were sent in a little bit early. I guess they were trying to get past, but she sacrificed them all and didn't do anything with them. This is starting to get really concerning here for Scarlett, in my opinion.
This is actually very, very bad now. There's not a whole lot she can do. With those Void Rays out, the hatchery tech aggression is just a non-factor from Scarlett. So there's still no Spore Crawlers out, so that Oracle can keep hopping in and out, killing off a few drones here and there. Just getting all that scouting information. Naniwa knows exactly where he stands. Scarlett's a little